All right, let me know if the audio is okay. You guys know how this goes. If the audio is good, it's yay on me. If it's bad, it's your fault. It's totally your fault. We'll get started a little early today, like a couple minutes early. Why not? I don't know. But let's snap this in, ba-bing, and let's snap this out, ba-boom. What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome to the event space. As always, I'm Seth Miranda. This is all my stuff here. So I don't know. I figured we got to keep this going. This is week 27. There isn't much as far as events listed so going forward because Adorama's closed tomorrow and Wednesday. Then we got like a week, and then they're closed for like 2 weeks for Jewish holidays in October, right? So this is your fair warning to one, if you want to come to an event and something's being listed, get on it now. Two, if there's something you need, get it ordered now, okay? But let's really quickly take a look at, first of all, hello, what's up, Rick? What's up, Rich? What's up, Matt? Who else is in here? Got a few of you guys in here. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Let me know what you shoot with. Roger, how are you? I know I listed this one like last minute, but I wasn't sure if I was going to make it today. Well, I did, so here we are. Of course, I got Quinn with me. Make sure you say what's up to Quinn. Yay, Quinn. This channel has basically doubled. So if you are new here, let me know. Let me know how you came across the channel. Let me know what you've been finding helpful about it. Feedback is how we make the world go round, kids. So let me know. What's going on, EJ? How's it going? How's it going? My ankle is decent at best. I'm trying to go without a brace today, so we'll find out just how long it takes for me to hit the ground. All right. But either way, it's been almost 2 months and it's still not normal, and I still can't run, but I can get upstairs, get downstairs, and I can carry a bag. So we go forward, right? All right, cool. Canon R5s. Okay, we got XT5 R6 II. That's a nice mix. Okay. All right. I see some new names in this chat. Welcome. All right, so a couple things. One, if you did not know, you now have an 8-hour marathon on this channel called All Day Replay. I set it live, so there was live format, but it was a rerun of past favorite live streams that you guys have seemed to have a lot of good feedback on. So the idea behind that is it keeps you company all day. You can play it while you're editing. You know, I don't think anybody ever gets everything they can out of these classes in just one on the fly of the moment playthrough, or like sitting in these chairs, or even watching it online, and you might take it a few times. And it might also take you a few live streams from different instructors on different topics to start making sense with other things. So that's the whole point of me putting together these marathons for you guys. So let me know if you're into them. I know that the view count's gonna be low because they're 8 hours, but they're just meant to be there for you, even if you want to put them on as a screensaver. Because I do that all the time. I have 3 screens at home and I'm not using all 3 screens. I'll throw something on the 3rd screen just so it's moving them pixels around, you know? We don't want any burn in here. So make sure you comment on the things you like on this channel, including the trailer. If you see the channel trailer, I'm trying to get that comment list, the thread, to turn into basically your testimonial. Let us know which live streams you've appreciated. Let us know what you want to see on this channel. Let us know what you've gotten out of it, feedback, period. I just want people to find that trailer, look at the comments and go, what am I missing out on? Because the more this channel grows, the more resources we can gain to then deliver some more stuff to you, right? It's all cyclical. We need you as much as you need us, and back and forth, okay? This is a partnership, all right, guys? And I will obviously I will always do the best I can for you guys, all right? An M4 Pro Max should be fine for literally anything you're doing right now. The one thing I find about, before, I guess I'll address this question before I get into the other stuff. The one thing I find about DaVinci and video editing in general, you want to have a high capacity RAM because it's rendering all these frames that you're going to play through on your video files, and that goes into your RAM. The more capacity it has, the more frames it'll pre-render, so you have smoother playback. In my experience, I at home run 128 gigs because I didn't want to think about it, right? But that's me, right? I just am a little crazy about things. Really quick, I just want to go over what is happening in the event space for you guys. So on the 30th, I got Justin Picari coming in here, new speaker. I got a lot of hope for this kid. I like his work. I think he does a lot of striking visuals, has a really good heart, really good attitude. So make sure on September 30th, you are jumping back in this chat room to keep him company, say what's up. He's gonna show you guys not just how to use gels, but make the most out of using gels. So instead of just like, let's tape purple on this light and hope for the best, it's more like, why are we doing that? How can we optimize that? What are the best use cases for it? What colors mix with what? You know, things to consider. This is where you take gels from taping on a light to actually being intentional with what you're doing. So make sure September 30th, you clue on that. Then October 1st, yes, we are hitting October like a freight train. It's showing up, and I love my October, you know that. My buddy Steve Irby, Steve Sweatpants from Street Dreams, will be joining me on Coffee with Creators. So make sure you're on the main channel. There are 70 episodes of this live stream, of this podcast with 70 different guests. If you need something to play and just absorb from other people and get perspectives and insights, that is a massive playlist for you. So make sure you're checking it out. Make sure you're dropping comments on it. You have to let us know what you're getting the most out of, what insights you felt were useful. And that's just how we go forward with all this stuff. All right, guys? Hey, what's up, Kathy? I hope you're well. Hope you're well. Marcus, I knew you'd be in here. All right, so I didn't have a set plan for today. I'll be honest with you, like always. I mean, this is 27 weeks of this. I never have a plan. So whatever you guys are having an issue with, we're gonna pull up that question. I'm gonna do the answer live as a demo. Quinn is always ready. She's been doing her makeup for like 3 days. I'm not even kidding. Like, look at this. She's immaculate, okay? I do have some question stickers to pull up to get the momentum going on this. I don't know. I pull up my phone and all I got are raccoon videos. Go figure, right? Fort Worth, Texas is here. All right. Z9, Z63, I hear you. I'm kind of in the same boat. Got a Z63 here today. Let me go to the question sticker on my Instagram. And if you guys want to stay up on what I'm doing, my work, or get on top of this question sticker before we go live, I usually post it the day before we're live. So that's my IG, that's my everything. That's all my social, okay? Okay, the first question I got, oh, I only have one question, okay. So Christopher Lawrence, I don't know if you're in the chat, but he's asking, when do you decide enough light is enough? My default is to use all 8 speed lights on every shoot. Okay, so let's talk about why you would even need multiple lights. The use cases for multiple lights are if your zone, number one reason in my opinion for multiple lights is if you're lighting in zones, meaning I want to light, you know, I want to light Quinn, then I want to light the background completely separate. If I want to change the shape of my subject by having light coming from a different direction, like raking across the hair or across bone structure. If I want to be in a location and separately light things so it doesn't look like there's just one source. These are the reasons, right? Is there an answer to how much light is enough? No, that's up to you because that's a creative choice. On a technical level, if you tell me you are trying to cover a large surface area, like you are shooting a large group of people, are you going to do that with one speed light? Probably not. You're going to need to separate them into zones and light as such, right? So, or if you want more power, but you don't have lights that are more powerful, ganging them up so that if I have, you know, a 500 watt second light here, and I stack another 500 watt second light, I got 1,000 watt seconds blazing into whatever I'm blazing it into, right? So if I'm bouncing off the ceiling and I feel like it's not enough light, I can throw another light into that ceiling and get myself another stop of light, right? Stops are twice as much or half as much. So doubling up gives me an extra stop of light if I need it. So the when is enough light enough light? Well, it really depends on what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, and the situation you're in, right? So I think you guys think that there's some like golden perfect answer to, oh, you use 3 lights, period. You use 3 lights for this type of shot, and there really isn't. It's really what is missing from the shot and what tools do I have at my disposal to create said image, right? So for example, when you look at somebody like Joe McNally, like my homie, right? Joe will look at a diner and be like, every table needs to have lights under it so that there's something breaking up that shadow underneath all the tables. So that could be 7 speed lights. That could be 7 lights right there before he even lights his subjects, right? So you got to really go in with a game plan. I always say when you're adding more lights, you also need to add more intent. And you can quote me on that. If you're adding more lights, you need to add more intent. It's just like adding more words to a sentence. It makes no sense. What's the point of the other words? Hold on, guys. I'm going to shut up this AC because it sounds like a World War II fighter plane in my face. But does that make sense to you guys? Yeah, I'm going to answer your question in a second. You guys can still hear me, right? I'm hitting chairs. I'm a mess. It's great. But really, it's just like any other tool. The more you add to it, there has to be a reason for that adding of that tool, right? Listen, I could tell you all day you need more lights, and I can find people to sell you lights here at Adorama, but I don't think that's going to be conducive to you getting anything you want out of it if you don't know what you want to get out of those lights, right? So that's kind of where I'm at on that. Does that make sense to you guys? You know? All right, wow, a bunch of questions just popped up in this chat. Before I move on, I hope that, I don't even know if you're in this chat, but that's what I would say to that question of like, how many lights is enough lights, right? You could see endless demos that have been performed here in the event space that's literally 1 light demos. Yeah, I know you can't hear the AC, but it's literally blazing in my face while I'm talking to myself. Literally, I know you guys are here with me, but in reality, I'm talking to myself. I got a store full of people looking at me like I'm crazy all day just for you, trust me. So, and I'm so glad we're hitting fall, which is like my weather. I overheat so easily. I can't wait for my creepy, crispy fall, you know? So yeah, Chris, I hope you're in this chat or you're watching on playback, and I hope that was a sufficient answer for you. The next question I'll take up is Rich from Micah. He's saying, how does the look differ for kicker lights when using a 1x3 versus bare bulb, using lights instead of small plastic grids? A bare Explorer isn't a grid. That's a bare strobe. So you have to realize that when you are, let me see if I got a 3. I think I got a 3 in here. Oh. Also, if I look like I'm speeding around, remind me to slow down, because that's when I'm going to hurt my ankle again, because I don't realize that I'm like moving sideways and leaning on it the wrong way, you know? So a 3-foot octa, not 3-foot octa, I'm sorry, a 1x3 strip versus, I don't have a bare 100, but just picture this, but smaller. So a quote unquote bare head, technically these aren't bare. Even in something like a 100 Explorer, there is a lens in front of it. A bare bulb to me is literally a bulb that's extruded and exploding light everywhere. This isn't going to bounce off the ceiling like an actual bare bulb would, and neither would an Evolve Explorer 100 or whatever, right? What you're doing when you're choosing softboxes is you're choosing the shape of the light as well. So one, you have it going through diffusion layers, which is going to break up basically your specularity, which means that if you're going to do something, what was the question? If you're going to use some kicker light. So when you say kicker, you mean from the back, that's something like a rim light or a hair light that's coming like this way onto your subject, right? If your light is in a 3-foot strip, one, it's already changed the shape to be an even light source for 3 feet coming towards your subject, right? And right there, you're going to have less specularity and a softer gradation of light from where it hits to where it's dying off, which is going to hit hard on the back of your subject. I tell you what, how about I set up a strobe? I'll do my best impersonation of a raw strobe, and then we'll throw a 3-foot on it. You're not going to see a huge difference because Quinn doesn't have any oil sebaceous glands, or actual hair, but hopefully you'll get an idea of what's actually happening. Let's just give it a shot. All right, you guys in for that? Let me know. Don't be quiet in that chat either. You're going to drive me crazy. You're going to make me look like I'm crazy. I already look like I'm crazy talking to nobody here. Okay. So the first thing I got to do is shoot what? What's the first thing I got to do when I'm going to get ready in here? What's the first thing we're doing, right? Actually, I'm not even ready because I didn't even set up a tether. So while I set up a tether, let me take another question while I'm routing this, and we'll do a raw strobe, and then we'll throw a strip on, and then we'll talk about what actually changed there, okay? But I mean, there's a reason you're putting on a modifier, right? You know? Oh, hey, Christopher. I'm here. Oh, no, thank you. I'm glad that answer kind of made sense, you know? Yeah, we got to do a black frame, Melanie. That's right. Out of everything I did to get ready for the stream, the last thing I realized was actually setting up a tether. Hold on. No Flash, no Quinn. Oh, is that a Gavin Hoey reference? You know, I love Gavin. I love him. And that's a really easy way to explain it. I guess I never really looked at it like no flash, no picture, because in reality, you are taking a frame. You're just not capturing the light you want to use. I don't want to get into it. I'm gonna get too technical about it, and I don't want to disparage anything Gavin has said, because I love that guy, and I think he's good for everybody. All right. So we got a tether going. What was that last question? Why are other photographers so mean? They get the shot, then laugh at because you didn't get one. People are so mean now. Look, I'll just say I think there's a lot of egos when it comes to this, just like any other creative thing. I think there's a lot of people that fill their heads with their own reality when it comes to things, but you know, the reality is that all you have to worry about is yourself. All right. If you're happy with what you're doing, what you're producing, what you've created, what you're delivering, what you're excelling at, what you're producing for other people, for yourself, you can't get caught up in what other people are saying to you. And my number one advice to people who are just starting shooting is my number one, and this goes for me too, don't listen to anyone. Just go shoot. This is the best time of your career, is just go, forget what anyone's going to tell you and just shoot the way you want to shoot, and then try to refine the techniques and skills that you feel you need to achieve what you're trying to achieve. If you say, oh, I'm shooting all the street photography, but it looks so noisy and grainy. Well, that's when we take a step back to the technical and go, well, how can we get to an exposure that doesn't look so noisy and grainy, right? But for now, when you start, people are going to be mean to you. Forums are going to be full of egos, and they're going to give you negativity based on things they feel you should already know. I'm here to tell you, who cares what they're going to say? They're not you. They're not living your life. They're not spending your time doing this. They're not spending your money on the equipment doing this. Go shoot how you want to shoot. Don't listen to anybody, but then go seek the actual legitimate information and expertise to get you the tools you need to achieve what you're trying to achieve. But you don't even know what you're trying to achieve till you realize how you shoot, how you want to shoot, what you're trying to do. Okay? Hey, what's up, Ab? I hope you're well, buddy. Been a minute. We gotta reconnect, man. I don't remember the last time I even saw you. Yeah, I do have janitor keys. I dress like a janitor. I'm gonna have janitor keys. What do you want from me? I keep it real, son. I keep it real, son. All right, I'm stuck on a bunch of stuff. All right, let's get no strobe. Let's get a black frame with Quinn. Oh, my neck is killing me. I am banged up, guys. I am not in the best physical condition, but we're doing this. We are doing this. All right. Let me throw a strobe on here. Our tether is immediate. Look at that. Oh, I didn't even, that's from last time, I guess. I'm not sure what we got into last time, but that is from last time. Okay. So let's I'm going to start at f8, 200th of a second, ISO 100. And we're going to, you know what? I need some more room. Let me just move a couple things. I got to tell you, there's nothing more distracting than talking while you're doing everything. Thank you, sweetheart. No, you're the best. No, you're the best. You're the best. I know. Well, you know, I'm glad we can do this too, kid. All right, here we go. F8, no strobe, bada bing. And we've got pretty much a black frame. There's a little bit in there, very, very tiny bit, but it's not really affecting much. So now let's throw the strobe into position for what we would consider a kicker or a hair light or a rim light, whatever you want to call it. There is a difference. I'm not even going to bother going into it because I'm going to get 40 people tell me why it's something else. I don't care. I don't care what things are called. I care that you understand what we're doing, okay? All right. I'm going to turn on the modeling light so that we can see what's going on. Now, the thing about what I would call kickers or rim lights or modeling lights is a lot of people think that they have to hit your subject like this. The reality is what you want is it to blow past, so facing towards you pretty much. And then as it spreads, let the edge of that light rake across your subject. You're not looking to bang into them. You're looking to illuminate and rake the light past. So let me take a look at what we're doing. Of course, I forgot to turn on the overhead camera like a mook. I'm doing the best I can for you guys. All right, we're gonna do this in TTL. We'll see what we get. Usually when lights are coming at your camera, TTL can be a little wonked up, but we'll see what happens here. Okay, so here is bare bulb or simulated bare bulb. Okay, this is exactly, this looks definitely like an almost raw light. The reason I say almost is because it's not blowing light literally everywhere. It does have a lens on it, and it does have a minimized beam angle instead of having an extruded bulb that explodes everywhere in 180 degrees, right? Or 360 degrees rather. But I mean, we're looking at TTL trying to make a difference, make a average between here and this highlight. It is blowing that highlight to death because it is trying to get you just some kind of detail here. So is it right or wrong? You could say it's overexposed, and that would say, that to me would go, okay, but you have to ask it, did you want the face? Did you want detail in the face? And that's when I would start questioning. Because remember, we're doing almost a spot metering off of an eye where we're focusing. So that's where your TTL is going to try to make a difference about it, right? So if I take, so for example, let's see if this changes anything. I'm going to go into spot, single point, and spot metering. And I'm going to take this shot again, but I'm going to focus on her. And then I'm going to move my point. I'm going to focus on her and then move my point to the highlight and see what I get. Am I in TTL? Yeah, I am. I think it still took it from the eye anyway. Let me see. Let me see if I do it from the focus point. I'm going to focus on her ear instead, see if it changes anything. Nah, not really. All right. All right, so I'm going to take it back off of that. And let's go into putting on a softbox, okay? So that's a pretty hard light, right? I'm even going to lock in that exposure because we're going to lose probably a stop and a half, if not 2 stops with this 1x3 strip, right? I'm not going to change anything. What I do want to do though, and to be fair, I'm going to move the light slightly back because now the light is here, not here, which means that it just gained about 1.5 feet of distance to Quinn. And to make it match better, I'm going to move that light back, okay? So let's take a look at what this looks like without going into TTL. Let's take a look. That's a big difference. I'll use this one. That's a big difference. Also, I want you to notice, here, I'll do this one and this one. But look at her shoulder and the fall off and smooth, soft gradation from shadow to highlight, or rather highlight to shadow because we're going from that direction, right? And you're controlling the spread of light from literally bouncing off of everything. I guarantee you the reason that this gray is coming up is because it's physically bouncing, the light is physically bouncing off of her white matte paint and going into that, right? But I mean, you're even picking up this Look at how much more of a gradation you're getting here, right? Instead of this stark line, right? That's a massive difference. Plus you're gaining control, right? And we can gain even more control. You know why? I got a grid hanging off of this thing. Let's grid it up. Let's see what happens when I grid it up. Right? Now we're minimizing the spread of the light even more. It's not focusing the light, it's minimizing the spread of the light. Let's take another shot. So we got no box, box, and now box with grid. Wow, yeah, look at that. So, bingo, bango, bada bing. So now if you're gonna say to me, I want my kicker or rim light or whatever you want to call it to not affect the front of the face as much, if I want it to not mix with my key and my fill, right? So imagine you had a gel on that light, but your key and fill are neutral. Would I want on the left to happen and mix? That's a creative choice. There is no right answer there. But if you didn't, if you're trying to maintain fidelity of color on the key light and the fill light that you're going to put in for the subject themselves, this light on the left would absolutely infiltrate or corrupt, if you will, the neutral light. So there's even more reason, right? Does this all make sense to you guys? So you have to ask yourself, what is this softbox doing? It's making the light bigger. It's minimizing the spread of that light. It's making that light more diffused. So we're going from this circle of light blowing everywhere to now a 3-foot strip of light that's then going to grow in size as it expels. And we are diffusing the light, meaning breaking it up. It's literally turning from a stream into a mist, right? So the mist of light will help you with things like if you have like some oily skin or something wet or anything, and you want to minimize that shine just a little bit more, you can, because diffusion will absolutely help that. Because instead of it being a direct light going like this, it's now a mist of light, and then it scatters even more as it bounces off of the next subject, right? And so then we can go even further and put a grid on there and really minimize the spread of this light and really dial it in how we want to dial it, you know? So that's a massive, I mean, this is huge. You always want to gain control. You never want to like not have control. You can always give up control, but gaining control is hard. So what I mean by that is you can always have a light just blow light everywhere. You can always have a strobe just blast light everywhere. But all the tools are for us to gain different types of control and different types of dialing in the look and style of the light, the property of the light, you know? So a 3-foot octa is going to give you, actually, you know what? I tell you what, I'm going to go from the strip light to a 3-foot octa, and we'll see how a bigger light source as a kicker or whatever. I don't know. I haven't used the term kicker in so long. Kicker, rim, hair light, whatever. We'll see how that goes. In fact, I think Daniel did this Thursday. I think he did a demo where he used like the bigger light source as just like a rim light, I think. Or was it Jeff Carpenter maybe? Jeff Carpenter was a good stream. If you guys missed that last week, make sure you check that out. It could use some views, and Jeff's a good guy. We want to make sure we show love to our people, you know? I'm actually going to move this light more this way to make it fair, because right now it's like literally in the shot. It's so big. So let's move it so that's out of the shot so that it's fair, right? Now we have a bigger softbox, right? Now think about it. What is a bigger light source going to do? We know this answer, right? We say this every time. If the light's bigger, it also in relation to our subject, it is also, come on, talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, babe. Talk to me, baby. I used to live next to this deli where the guy was always on his phone, and he would always answer the phone. Talk to me, baby. Daniel did it with a grid. Okay. So now we have a larger light source and different shape. So we are still 3 feet, but now we're 3 feet, right? All right, so let's do this. It's going to be a softer light source, right? It's a physically larger source. But there's also another, I don't want to say feature, like aspect of this light that we can use, and I'll show you in a second, all right? So I'm not going to change my exposure at all. We're going to stay on the same exposure, right? We're going to take a look at her. Quinn's looking great. We love her. Bada bing. Look at that. What happened now? We went from bing to bing to bing, and now bing. What happened here? We have a light that is the same power, same exposure, same relative position, but we have completely different light happening here. I mean, you're looking at what they would consider quote unquote, wrapping around. I'll tell you what's actually happening. I bet you it's bouncing off my shirt as well. My white shirt, that flash is literally bouncing off of this. So if that's the case, you know what else is a property of this light? I can put a bounce card in there and get, because I have so much light blowing past and around Quinn, instead of that light dying off, let's put it right back in, and we're going to throw it in with a fill card like this, right? So now we're using one light to simulate two lights, right? I don't know what focal length I've been shooting at. Let me see. 81 millimeters. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. 81. Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to bounce this light back into her. Take a look. Wow. Right? And that's because I have so much residual light just flying past her and dying. Why not use that light? But what also happened? Well, if my one light source is this, I'm getting an even softer light because it's even more diffused. It's going through that diffusion, spreading out, hitting the board, breaking apart even more. And that means it's softer and more diffused. It's actually not, it's more diffused and more diffused. And you could also basically say that the key light that's coming back at her is a, what is this, like a 1x3 foot board? So now we have a 3-foot light coming back at her, but it can never be brighter than the one light that's in there, right? The one light is creating all the light, because without that light, what do we have? We have that. Does that make sense? So we just did a whole lot with one light just by changing the shape of it. So when you ask what's in between a raw light, which is like nothing on it, and a softbox, well, then there's also what softbox, right? And we could grid this, but I actually don't have a grid for it, believe it or not. Unfortunately, somebody walked out of here with it. So we can't even have nice things, people. All right. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. This is the whole point. The whole point of these are to, if I can show you, I will, right? You know, with what I have. Oh no, okay. With what I have available to me on hand here, okay? Hey, what's going on, Kristen? So I hope you realize, like, all light is predictable. All lighting is predictable. It's a science as much as it's a feel, right? So if you say, hey, I want it to look like this, that's a feel. The technique that gets us to that look is the science. Does that make sense? That's where you've got to get to the middle, right? And I think it's easier to learn the science than it is to develop the feel for it. And the only way you can develop feel for it is just getting in there, shooting, and realizing what's happening when you're making changes. You know what I'm saying? So if you go like, hey, I'm going to change this to a 3-foot octa, and then realizing what changed from the 1-foot strip to the 3-foot octa will change. All right, I'm going to say this to you, one shutter shocked. You are watching Adorama. You should support the retailer that's delivering you this type of content if you can. So I'm going to say, check out Glow Softboxes, The Para Snaps are really nice. Whatever your budget is, they have it at Adorama.com. So let's just put it that way. I will also say you have support here. You're literally supporting this channel. You're supporting the kids that work here that are getting their careers started, the guys that are between gigs working here, the pros that are salespeople here between gigs that are working parallel. Like, make sure you're making better decisions than supporting a giant jungle named conglomerate. Okay? You're literally watching free content provided to you by a place that you could be supporting instead of a place like that. This is a community in more ways than you can think, right? So I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't care if you guys buy anything, but I want to make sure you get the support you need to keep going, because I don't want anybody to quit. I've seen people over the years buy the most expensive stuff and go and get frustrated and leave. But you also have to realize that all this is supported by you guys supporting back. So just the next time you're going to go make a purchase of whatever it is from this industry, just make sure you check out Adorama.com or come into the store. I mean, this store right here is for you guys. This store is all for you. These chairs are for you, but they only are here if Adorama sticks around, right? So we have to make sure we're supporting each other and our own, okay? Oh, really? I will say they do what they can. And the other thing is, places like this, which is a specialized pro shop, the staff here makes really deep, long-term relationships with the brands to see what they can do as far as pricing goes. I've seen it happen. Yes, there's protected pricing in this industry for like cameras. The camera has to be the same price everywhere. Got it. But there's other things that aren't price protected, that if they build up a relationship with the vendors and the brands, they can deliver you guys a better price. So just make sure you remember that I cannot do this for you if Adorama doesn't stay supported. All right. So that's my last spiel on that. My glow modifiers are affordable. They've lasted many years and are well worth the investment. There you go. Glow. Daniel actually used glow. Daniel actually used glow modifiers on Pro Photo Lights in his last live stream, and he did a really good job. That young up and comer, Daniel Norton. So make sure you check out Daniel's on-set live streams on the main channel, Adorama TV. He did a really good job. But hey, not a bad shot for a single octa, single octa and a piece of foam core, kids. Right there, bada bing. That looks pretty clean to me. Of course, we can play with it to maybe get the reflector in there closer, brighten her up a little bit, But other than that, I think we did all right there. All right. Any other questions you guys are trying to figure out? Or most flattering light for bald dudes when they want a pro headshot? Well, why don't you define for me what you consider flattering? If you're going to say something like reflections off of someone's head, well, you're going to want to do larger light sources that are diffused. Something like large umbrellas with a sock on them, like a 5-foot umbrella with a diffuser on it, is a large diffused light source that really will have less of a chance of causing a specular highlight. A specular highlight is those reflections of the actual light source in our image. So when you shoot glass and you see like your softbox, that's a specular highlight. Same thing happens on oily skin or maybe some bare skin. What you're seeing as the white highlight is the physical reflection of the light source. So now, if you had a 5-foot umbrella, right? So let me see if I got one here. If you had a 5-foot, oh, I got one. You got a 5-foot umbrella, and then you put a diffuser on it. I know I got a diffuser here because I've been throwing it around. Okay, I don't know where this diffuser went. If you have a 5-foot light source, oh, there it is. Has a diffuser on it, right? Now, they're literally within what would be the highlight. The whole light is so big that it has no chance to just be a highlight because you're exposing technically for that highlight. I know, I just confused the life out of you guys. I know. But you guys, I think people overlook umbrellas too easily when they're starting out. like, oh, that's beginner stuff. Like, no, umbrellas are awesome and they are easy to carry around, easy to pack. And then you get yourself a 5-foot light source, right? A 5-foot light source that's this diffused, right? This will have such little chance of causing a reflection in glasses, in oily skin, in product, on shiny substrates like this. And you can get really, really great umbrellas with diffusers. The glow umbrellas are, hey Wes, how much is a 5-foot glow umbrella? Not 5 feet. That's no way it's $9. Make sure you see Wes here. Apparently he has great deals on 5-foot umbrellas. $20 for a 5-foot umbrella? How much for the sock? Probably another 20. A 5-foot umbrella from Glow is $20. Okay. You have no reason not to try it. Are you kidding me? That's insane. A 5-foot Glow umbrella is $20. Are you sure? 70. $70. Okay, never mind. $70 with, but think about it this way. It's a 5-foot light source that packs down easy. A 5-foot Octa could cost you $700. All right. So think of it that way. All right. My go-to my studio is a 7-foot umbrella. Yeah. I mean, no, it's not $20. He made a mistake. It looks like $70. So $70 for a 5-foot light source. You get the sock and you've got one of the most, actually, let's throw this on a light really quick and see how soft this thing is. I know I've shot with this a million times on this channel already, but whatever. I don't care. Let's do it really quick. All right. I got to get a sandbag here. I am running out of room quick. Shocking, right? I mean, this is a Pro Photo umbrella. There's a big price discrepancy between Glow and Pro Photo, but you'll be fine with, actually, you know what? I think what I'll do is, I'm not going to hang it overhead like I normally do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it basically face value, kind of. Let's see if I even have room to do this. Let's see. Bada bing. All right. Okay, so now I've got a big umbrella, a big diffuser, one light, right? We're gonna lift this up. What just happened? Oh, I didn't tighten anything. That's what happened. Because Seth is busy talking and not actually doing what he's supposed to be doing. Hang on a second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Now we got a 5-foot light source compared to our 3-foot rim light that we were doing. Let me close this diffuser down. And I'm just going to shoot it just straight like this, okay? So TTL, right? No, I don't want updates. Stop. TTL on our girl at f8. Let's take a look. Done. Now let's say, oh, I want to do a quick fill. Well, I got this foam core here, right? If I do the foam core, I got, don't forget, remember with the 3-foot Octa, we had all that residual light? What do you think I got here? Right? Let me switch cameras to this. I got all this light that I can bounce up. So let's do a real quick bounce. All right, man. You gotta stop moving so fast. This is gonna be like the nicest, most easy light ever. Boom, nice and clean. Nice and smooth, but still has a lot of shape. So they're not flat, right? They're not flat. And then I'll try the silver side, which probably won't change much, but look at that. Look at how clean that is, right? The silver side probably won't change too much, but we'll play with it. Yeah. Look at how clean that is. Come on. Come on. Right? So super diffuse, super open, super flat. Like that background even looks even, right? So if you're just trying to get going and you're getting started, like a big soft umbrella is such a nice thing to just get going. And it's one of those get out of jail free things, meaning if you're doing headshots for corporate headshots for a bunch of people, and they're all different types of people, shapes, whatever, everything, right? Shapes, ages, skin tones, hairstyles, wardrobe. If you're just running through a high volume of people, something like this kind of light is just the easiest solution to make sure that they're happy with the way they look. They're also in a situation like that, they're not modeling. They're getting headshots they kind of just have to get as a formality. They're not trying to get a look out of it. They're just trying not to look bad. So something like a nice big umbrella is really nice to work with. We could also tilt this down more, right? And when I tilt this down more, we're changing the direction a little bit. I'm going to do it a little more, actually. We're changing the direction a little more, but here's what we're gaining. I'm going to do it with and without, but what we're gaining here is light directly onto the board we're bouncing rather than it's skipping across the board. So the fill gets affected by this more than anything here. This is with no fill board on TTL really quick, right? Okay, see a lot more shape than where she was over here. A lot more shape. You can even, I mean, look at her lips alone, the lips alone, a lot more shape, okay? A lot more chin going on, a lot more cheekbone going on. Now, piece of foam core, right? And we'll just keep it like this, it's fine. Piece of foam core, and because the light is literally pointing at this foam core, we're gonna get a lot more fill. And there it is, really, really blown in there. Really smooth shadowed, but not depth, not a lot of shadow depth, okay? All right. So right there, glasses, oily skin, bald heads, or whatever you want to say, you know, follically challenged people. I don't know what the correct term is, but I have the opposite problem. I just can't, I don't know what to do with all this. All right. Yeah, so Kristen is saying makeup translucent powder on the head helps a lot. It sure does. The problem I found with that is, one, some people aren't comfortable with it. Two, you're gonna probably look into hiring someone to do that, because I wouldn't want to do it as the photographer. I wouldn't want, I find that people are more comfortable having actual makeup artists touch them than the photographer themselves, especially in a situation where they're not used to getting photographed. And the other thing I would say is, if I can do it with light, it's just faster and easier. We can keep going, right? Like just get it going. But yes, translucent powder. If all else fails, I turned it off because of sound. I'll put it back on. If all else fails, yeah, you can do a translucent powder. I know Gary Hughes is a fan of that. But overall, I try to do what I can with the light. Because the way I look at it is, if their skin is shiny, then something else is probably shiny as well, like their glasses or their watch or something like. So I might as well just encompass it all in one technique, which would be the lighting, to get it a little softer, you know. If they came to me and said, this is great, but I really was hoping for something a little more dramatic, then you're going to start changing the size of your light to being smaller to create more shadow and shape. And then you're getting more specific light rather than a general purpose type light. And then you're going to start running into some issues, but it's just how it goes. I don't know how else to say it, you know. Yeah. Wow, this one's flying today, I guess because we're actually shooting. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you're new here, hit subscribe. Just so you guys know, we're at 21,000. We doubled the size of this channel. I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it, but like, we're on some momentum track, and I can't thank you guys enough. And don't forget, you leaving comments on those live streams not only helps out this channel with engagement, but it makes the presenters feel like what they did was worthwhile. I can't tell you what it's like to be an instructor and then not know how you did, right? Like, I've done stage shows at, or platform classes at trade shows, gotten off there, and I'm like, I guess it was good. I don't know. And everyone's leaving the room. You never really know how you did. And sometimes they give you a sheet full of comments and then you kind of gauge how you did. Leave those comments for those instructors. If you appreciated what they did and what they shared with you, it's easy, it's free, and it goes a longer way than you could imagine. Hitting like helps out a lot. You know, I also think that with instructors, they don't want to do a live stream and go, there's not a lot of views there. There's not much we can do about that unless a lot of people watch the video, but it definitely makes them feel better when that view count's higher, and things that help circulate the video are likes and comments and sharing it. So if you have a friend that's struggling with lighting or whatever, send them a few of the videos, you know, let them know that there's some free education and content and a chat room they can jump into, you know. That said, we got about 60 of you in this chat and 40 likes. If you guys would, I appreciate dropping a thumbs up. That's a big help. But overall, I hope we can get this channel to 100K. I want to see that silver play button hit this event space. We put a lot of work into this, and it means a lot that it's helping you guys out. And seeing you guys talk in the chat about what has helped you out, or that you're even returning to the chat, is a sign that we did right by you. We helped you out with something you needed help with, you know. So, with the diffuse 5-foot umbrella, what sort of power strobe do you need? 200, 300. So when you start getting into larger size modifiers, like a 5-foot umbrella, don't forget, it's not just the size you're trying to fill, but you're also trying to get through that diffuser if you're going to diffuse this, if you're going to put a sock on it. And that could be 2 stops right there. So this is a 500 watt second light. Right now it is at 6.2 in order to get the shot that we just got. So what is 6.2 on Pro Photo? Well, 10 is 500 watt seconds. 9 is 250. 7 is 120. I'm sorry, 8 is 125. 7 is 60 watt seconds, basically 60 or so, about 30 watt seconds. You'd be surprised how much you can get away with a 200 or 300 watt second light. Having said that, did I do that right? Wait, hold on. Now I'm embarrassed, right? 10 is 500, 9 is 250, 8 is 125, 7 is 60 something. So 30 something watt seconds. We'll call it 40 watt seconds to be nice. You could put a speed light in there, right? Here's the problem you're going to have. Recycle time, battery's going to burn away, and also just the way it spreads to be even inside the umbrella. So what I mean by that is something with a larger surface area light, right? Like this has a few inches of a circle. If you had a speed light that's a small square head, it might get you an exposure, but it might not evenly fill the entire umbrella to make it 5 feet. It might be hot in the center and die off towards the edges, and then you get a different quality of light, you know? So that's something else to consider. If you're looking into getting into larger modifiers, that's one of those cases where power makes more sense. You recycle faster. If it doesn't have to max out on power to do what you're trying to do, what you end up getting is faster recycle, longer battery life, more consistent on the strobe, because the strobe isn't dying as hard. So that's where you start making decisions about power, you know? This is a Pro Photo B30. So this is a newer 500 watt second light from Pro Photo, battery powered. So make sure when you're buying your lights, you kind of mitigate what you're really doing. Blimey, so you get away with quite small. Okay, so don't forget, before you go crazy, do not forget, this light was maybe 4 feet from her. If you were pulling a light 6, 8 feet away in a 5-foot umbrella, do you have any idea how fast this 6.2 goes to like 8 or 9? Your distance, the size of the modifier, and the diffusion you're pushing it through are all going to be factors as far as how much power you're going to need, right? One of the reasons it was so soft was because that light was so close to her, making that 5 feet really 5 feet. But if I put this umbrella, or wherever it is, across the room, that 5 feet quickly turns into a foot. And then that foot-sized umbrella is going to have to take a small light and make it fill the umbrella get out of that umbrella, break through that diffusion, and make that entire distance to illuminate our subject, you just lost a ton of power. So that's a massive factor as well. Does that make sense? So if you're ever trying to cheat more power out of your light, one of the first things you can do is just get them closer, which is why you see a lot of setups. If it's like a single person subject or something like that, that's why you see a lot of lights as close as they can get them in there before they're in frame, because you can always back them up, but you can't really get them closer once they're in frame, right? So the closer they are, the softer they are, but also the more power, the more you're making use of the power of the light. So if you ever watched me or any other small strobe photographer out there, you'll probably notice that we'll take a speed light and a softbox and it's like right here, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're mitigating the loss of power that we have to the situation that we're in. You know, so we're optimizing what we can, and distance is really a big key in that, all right? Distance is, I can't express to you enough how important distance is to your light. Distance of your light affects your power, the way it spreads, the way it falls off, the softness of it, how directional it might appear, how it affects the rest of your surroundings, how much it affects the zone of your light. You know, there's so many things, you know? All right. So I hope that was clear. All right. Also, you know, I'll usually pull out 500 watt second lights no matter what I'm doing in my studio, because I don't even want to think about ever having to worry about the battery power if I'm doing something easy. If I'm doing something that's not a lot of heavy lifting, if I'm using a light that has the potential of giving me a lot of power, but it's close up, it's in small modifiers, it doesn't matter, I'm not even worried about battery power, recycle time. And some strobes that aren't like high-end strobes, the more you work the strobe, like if it's struggling, if you are constantly at full power, you are more likely to make that strobe shift in color and shift in exposure, because it's just got heat dissipation. It could overheat. It could even shut down on you, but you could see color shifts pretty easily in some lower cost lighting out there. So just keep that in mind, you know? All right. Not related to the stream. When Coffee Craze is playing, can photos of work be shown? We do show the photos and the work of the people. I just don't harp on it the entire time. So I give people, usually in the beginning, I show people the work of the person you're looking at, so you get an idea, and if something prevalent that we're talking about comes up, then it comes up. But you also have to realize I'm here by myself, hosting, producing, managing the chat. I can't just let something run and that I have to keep an eye on. So like a slideshow, like I'm not putting together a slideshow, guys. So I do show the work. And that's also why I put up their social handles, so while you're watching, you can be on your own looking at whatever you want to look at. All right. And sometimes the people don't have visual work to look at, like our girl EE, who manages indie game development. You know, I let the trailer play, but you know, man, I didn't even touch this coffee and now all the ice melted. All right. They're closing early today at Adorama, so make sure you get your, it's Rosh Hashanah, guys, come on. They're closing early, so make sure you get your, whatever you're shopping for or orders, make sure you get them in now rather than like later and you go, why is it taking 3 more extra days to ship? That's why. So just make sure that. I use my Godox 8200s. Here we use Flashpoint 200s with my 7-foot white umbrella and diffuser with no issues. I'm a pet photographer, so I'm always continuous mode. I have an adapter so I can use 2 flashes at the same time. Yeah, so what you're basically saying is that you're putting 2 200 strobes into an umbrella, essentially using 400 watt seconds, but into 2 units. So you're doing pretty much what's going on here, shy of like a quarter of a stop. Right? Francisco, is that you, Francisco? Like the Francisco? Is that you, buddy? I don't want to make assumptions. I see the R, but I'm not sure. Am I going to see you at Comic-Con? Is that you, buddy? Let me know. I haven't seen you since I hooked you up, man. Where you been, bro? No, I'm just playing with you. Hope you and the kid are well. Congratulations on the kid once again. I know it's been like a minute, but you know. So essentially, if you're doubling up the lights, you're getting the performance of a 400 watt second light just in 2 different units inside the umbrella. An advantage of that also could be that if you're someone that wants to get a little more sophisticated with the light, if you're ganging up 2 lights in a 5-foot umbrella, you can actually put one as your main exposure and then lower the power of the other light. So let's say it's like this. I can make this on exposure and down here a little under exposure so that I shape the light a little more customized instead of it being a full-on one type of light source. So that's pretty cool, you know, it's a nice option. Make sure you check out the Flashpoint Evolve 200. That is covered by Adorama itself. It's not a brand on the other side of the world. They actually make sure if there's an issue with the light or a warranty issue or whatever, you can physically come into Adorama and they'll take care of you, or you'll get someone that's here on the phone to take care of you, you know? Oh, cool, man. All right, so let me know, Francisco, text me with whatever booth number you're at or booth name you're at. I got to do my yearly video from Comic-Con, so, you know, I'll be trudging around. I'm going to see how long I can make it. I'm hoping that this ankle gets to at least 90% before I got to go walk for 8 hours a day for 4 days at the Javits Center here in New York for Comic-Con. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, on my personal channel, I've done 2 videos of 2 different years of Comic-Con here in New York where I cover the photographers' setups and I talk through with them about what they're doing for setups to shoot cosplayers, you know. Do a show with cheaper gear. That way you can show us using a gray card and setting Kelvin camera. Everyone cannot afford B30. Okay, so my response to that is, what did I do here that you couldn't do with a Flashpoint light or a brand that's lower cost? What did I say about this that was Pro Photo proprietary? In fact, I didn't even mention that there's a Pro Photo umbrella basically, and talked you through a very low cost, 1/10 the price option of what I showed you. So before you guys are really quick to get kind of animosity towards using pro gear, think about what I showed you here that would have been different. What was specific to Pro Photo or more expensive gear that I showed you or demonstrated that you could not do or replicate or apply to using any other brand? Fair question, I think. And I'm sorry if I come across a little aggressive on that, but like, this is constantly, and if that's your method of thinking, you're missing the entire points that I'm giving you while we're doing these demos. You know, I got to tell you, I think segues at Comic-Con will cause so many injuries. So many injuries. Well, even if you caught this halfway, every time we do demos here, it's never really about what we're using. It's about how we're using, right? So just make sure you grip that we're showing you principles that apply to anything you use. I don't care what brand camera. I don't care what lenses you're using. I don't care what modifier, like this is not about how much money we're spending on gear here. This is not. All right. Oh, Allie, how you been? How do I say your name? I don't know how to say. Is it Alex? Is that like a weird way to spell Alex? I don't use pro gear, but I can make some awesome images, knowledge again here. Yeah, it's principles that you can use with anything, that you can use with anything. There is no formulas and there's no magic gear that's going to get you to anything either. What you need to realize is everything you want to do is based on the way you do it and the reasons you're doing it for. So we need to learn the principles. You need to learn the, is this Canon? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm live right now, but you can come on if you want. All right. The guys from Canon are here. All right, now we know it's Alex. All right. Yeah, so basically me and Daniel, and like, I think the most key instructors that you come across on this channel, Ab Cisse, Lindsay Adler, Joe McNally, I mean, everybody that we bring through to you guys will never, ever tell you, you need this specific gear to do something. It's why we're using it and how we're using it. If you choose to, then you can, you know, invest at your will, you know? And another thing I want to say just really quickly is you are absolutely insane if you are starting day one and just pouring money into the most expensive gear you can find. You won't even know why it's so expensive or what you're really gaining out of it or what to even do with it. Seriously, like just be wise with your tool selection, with your investment, you know, and we can always have a discussion about why things cost the way they cost and what you get out of different price tiers. But there's nothing here that you can't do with whatever you probably already have, you know, or don't have to break the bank to do it, you know. I started headshots 10 years ago on a budget with young Nuo speed lights. Light is light, you just need to use it. So I will say light is light until it's not doing what you want it to do. I will say that if you're doing something that's like, you invest in the tools, depending on what you need them to do. I don't want my tools to ever work against me. So the one thing I invest more into lighting than I do any other part of my gear. And the reason I do that is because that's what I use for everything. Light is the most important thing to me. And if I'm shooting what I spent 15 years in the commercial makeup industry, that color had to be accurate. If my flashes every 3rd, 10th, 15th, 100th flash is changing yellow, orange, green, if it's getting warmer, if it's shifting tones, now I have to do extra work on top of what I just did. Or my client notices and goes, what's going on here? My client doesn't want to hear, but you don't understand, I saved so much money on this. They hired you to do something. So, but this is speaking as a pro, right? If you're just shooting for you and you have time to correct things in post or whatever, knock yourself out. But there's light. I will say light isn't just light. You can have lights from all different manufacturers, styles, types, whatever, and they're all going to give you a different fidelity, a different intensity, a different spread, different beam angle, different, honestly, color spectrum. You know, light isn't light. If I took a $20 LED light and put it on to someone's skin and photographed them, and then took a professional strobe and photographed them, you would notice a difference in skin tone. The question is, where are you willing to make the trade-offs? You know, so that reliability is a big reason for higher end gear is reliability and also repairability. You know, there's a lot of low cost stuff out there that how many times you guys bought it and they just say like, well, I just buy a new one. And so you're just throwing things out and buying another one, when with pro gear, it's serviceable, right? And you're not spending the astronomical price you paid in the first place to get it operational again, or it might not even fail on you actually. And I always tell you guys the number one place that the number one category I invest into the most is grip. No matter what camera, no matter what lens, no matter what lighting, no matter what modifiers, no matter what you guys invest into, your grip stays with you the whole way. It doesn't change. And a lot of people buy cheaper, lower cost stands that break over time. One, you're putting your investment on that. Two, how many times are you going to buy it? Three, what are you going to do when you're at the time of shooting? You're just going to be like, I guess I'll come back here and shoot this again when I buy a new stand. I've had the same C-stands for decades, you know? So I always say, like, don't skimp on things like grip. If you're getting into lighting, you know, make good decisions on that. And also don't forget, and this is the one thing I think people overlook the most, depending on what you invest into, and if you intend to grow, your investment comes back to you, not just in shooting professionally and getting paid to shoot, but also when you trade in. So how many of you guys have bought cameras, then you trade in for the newer camera? Depends on how they hold value. Same thing happens with professional gear. There, you know, an RA Sky panel will hold a lot more value in the used market, and you'll get your money back out of it when you're done with it, or you're trying to move on, or you're changing your setup or whatever. Makes a difference, you know? So that's something to consider if you're in this for the long game. If you don't want to look at the next thing you want to, not the next thing you want to buy, but the next thing you want to invest into, if you're looking at it and don't want to take a chunk out of your wallet from it, part of that is, well, what did I already invest into that I can then sell or holds value or trade in, you know, things like that. So shoot, like Daniel Norton always says, shoot with what you got. Determine what your needs really are, determine what your priorities really are, and then go forward from there. But there is no reason you can't use budget gear if you're just getting going. There is no reason for you to kill yourself to afford something that you can't afford. If you want to do a shot with a big soft light, you don't need to go buy yourself a $600 umbrella. You can buy a $60 umbrella. You can do that. You can totally do that. And don't think you can either, and don't think we're ever pushing expensive stuff on you. All right? But I do think at 25 years in this industry and doing this for years for you guys, I think I've earned the right to use ProPhoto here, okay? All right? All right? All right. I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are good for the week. Adorama's closed tomorrow, Wednesday. There's no live streams going on, really. Maybe I'll throw on another marathon this week, but don't forget you have the all-day replay. That's an 8-hour marathon stream on the channel, all-day replay. Throw it on as a screensaver. Throw it on while you're working. Throw it on while you're editing, whatever. It's there to keep you company. You can watch back some streams and pick up some new things. I find it hard to believe Seth would sell a light modifier. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Modifiers to me, I'm always like, I don't ever want to be in my studio and be like, oh, if I just had an extra, oh, you know what would have worked, this thing. Even when they're beat up and like turning yellow, or I have some modifiers that are basically tan, like coffee colored at this point, from all like the stuff that got stuck to it from the special effects shoots. But I don't want to get rid of these soft boxes, even if they leak light, because they're doing something, some property, some modification to the light that I can use. And if I want to have like a vintagey feeling aged light, that's what those soft boxes are there for, you know? So some people actually scrounge the used departments for vintage white umbrellas because they have a warmth to them, they get a patina to them, and the white starts becoming warmer. And so they look for those umbrellas because you really can't make that happen any other way. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh my God. Ron. Oh my gosh. I'm looking right at his face. He used to do some really cool things with old umbrellas. If I can remember, wow, I feel so bad. His name's Ron. He's the nicest guy on earth too. Haven't seen him in years. Anyway, yeah. So listen, if you want to watch some more of these back, there's 26 more episodes of this on this channel. Check out Coffee with Creators on the main channel. There are 70 episodes, 70 different guests. You have the events channel, the main channel, the cinema channel if you're into that. But pretty much we got you covered. All right. So make sure you are dropping comments on whatever instructors live streams you're a fan of. They see it. It gives them some, you know, it makes them feel a lot better about what they did here. If there's no comments, like, did I do a good job? All right. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I can't believe that we've doubled this channel so quickly. Hopefully we can triple it and quadruple it, you know? Let's gain some stops. Gain some stops of followers, you know what I'm saying? We're at 21,000. Let's get to 42. Let's gain a stop of followers. Let's get to 42,000. Let's do it. We can do it. What is the food for this live stream for the comments? What do you mean food? What is the food for? Oh, right. Wow, I totally forgot about that. If you made it this far on the playback, the word for the comments is cannolis. You know why? Because they just had an amazing bag of cannolis this weekend. They were so good. Vigneros over here on 11th Street. Love them. Cannolis in that comment section if you've watched back this far. And thank you so much for watching this far. Yeah. All right. I think I think we'll leave it there. I think we did some good stuff today, yeah? All right. I will be back, I want to say Monday, September 30th. Justin Bakari is going to be in here doing kind of an advanced gel demo. So color theory, optimizing the way we use gels, not just throwing a gel on a light and saying, yay, it's purple, okay? And don't forget, Adorama's closing for 2 weeks in October. Don't forget. So whatever you need, make sure you're putting those orders in now. All right, guys? All right. Guys, thank you so much. You can follow me here. Check out my work on Instagram. I'm most active on IG stories. And you can check out my own YouTube channel at this same thing, youtube.com/last6winners. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of the week. Happy New Year to those who celebrate. Shana Tova. Yeah, I will see you when we come back. I really never know what to dismount. I'm always still in mid-thought with you guys. All right, whatever. Be good to each other out there. I'll see you soon. And go check out Call for the Creators and the all-day replay. Good luck out there. Be good to each other. Meow, 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 meow. Bye, bye, bye.